Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. As US presidential fight rages on, Harris accuses Trump of demeaning the office of the president, while Trump keeps focus on illegal immigration. Israel begins bombing Hezbollah's banks and other financial infrastructure as Hezbollah targets adversaries' military bases. And world's biggest nature protection conference begins in the Colombian city of Cali. UN chief urges investment to safeguard Earth's biodiversity. In sports, New Zealand lifts Maiden ICC Women's T20 World Cup title, beats South Africa by 32 runs. With the US presidential election little more than 2 weeks away, the Democratic candidate Kamala Harris, in an interview to a news channel, used harsh words for her rival Donald Trump. She said Trump demeans the office of president because of the words he often uses and his use of coarse language. Meanwhile, the Democrat Kamala Harris visited 2 churches in Georgia, participated in 2 worship services outside of Atlanta as part of her campaign. She will campaign on Monday with Republican former Representative Liz Cheney. Early voting has begun in more than half of the U.S. states. The latest poll suggests Harris has a small lead nationally over Trump, but they are neck to neck in the key battleground states. Both candidates were scrambling for votes in the most competitive states, with Harris appealing to early voters in Georgia and Trump campaigning in Pennsylvania. At a town hall in Lancaster, Trump said that he will fix the border almost immediately. Earlier, Donald Trump visited a McDonald's store in Philadelphia and tried working French fry station and drive-through window. Trump said the McDonald's visit was intended in part as a jab at Harris. Earlier on Sunday, Trump went after Harris, calling her a threat to democracy and using offensive words to describe her job as vice president. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris turned 60 and she celebrated her birthday by visiting 2 churches on the campaign trail in Georgia. And for a change, she heard good words from her rival Trump as a birthday wish. Members of the congregation at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Georgia wished happy birthday to Kamala Harris. Harris is in Georgia to court early voters before the November 5th election. She will also speak at Divine Faith Ministries International in Jonesboro, just south of Atlanta, where she plans to encourage worshippers to exercise their voting rights. Republican nominee and her rival Donald Trump wished her a happy birthday as she turned 60, but said that US President Joe Biden prefers him over Harris.
It's her 60th birthday, so I want to wish her a happy 60th birthday. Right? No, happy birthday. And many more, and I mean it, so, you know, I do mean it, actually. I believe that Joe Biden likes me more than he likes Kamala. And who would think that?
Israel has intensified its military campaigns both in Gaza and Lebanon days after the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Although his death had raised hopes of an opening for ceasefire negotiations to end more than a year of conflict, in further escalation, Israel has begun bombing Lebanese branches of an association accused of financing Iran-backed Hezbollah. Hundreds of Beirut residents fled their homes late on Sunday with multiple explosions heard across the Lebanese capital. 11 strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs, many of them targeting Al-Qad al-Hassan. Other strikes hit the association in Lebanon's eastern Bekaa Valley and in the country's south. There was no immediate information on what caused the blasts or further details of any casualties. The Hezbollah-linked financial institution has more than 30 branches across Lebanon, including 15 across central Beirut and its suburbs. An Israeli military spokesperson earlier issued a warning to leave infrastructure belonging to Hezbollah Al-Qad Al-Hassan Association.
We will attack a large number of targets in the coming hours and further targets during the night. In coming days, we will also expose how Iran has financed the terror activities of Hezbollah and used civilian institutions, associations and NGOs as cover for their terror operations. We will attack them during the night and we will update in due course on the outcome in coming days.
A strike had landed near Beirut's airport, which is the main entry point of humanitarian assistance to the country and a major evacuation hub for those fleeing the conflict. A plane from Dubai landed in Beirut's international airport in the early hours on Monday, about 30 to 40 minutes after huge blasts rang out in the vicinity of the airport. The smoke rising from those blasts was still visible as ME-429 from Dubai was landing. Soon after, Hezbollah said that it had downed an Israeli Hermes 450 drone on Sunday without saying where. The Iran-backed group also said that it had fired several rocket salvos at Israeli troops across the border without providing any information. With US elections approaching, officials, diplomats and other sources in the region say Israel is seeking through military operations to try to shield its borders and ensure its rivals cannot regroup. Israel is also preparing to retaliate for an Iranian missile barrage earlier this month, though Washington has pressed it not to strike Iranian energy facilities or nuclear sites. Meanwhile, in Gaza, rescuers were still recovering people from the rubble after an Israeli attack on the northern city of Beit Lahia, where Israel says its troops have been trying to root out the remaining Hamas terrorists. While a 41-year-old Israeli colonel was killed and another officer was wounded in combat in northern Gaza on Sunday.
Today, during an encounter in northern Gaza in the Jabalia area, the commander of the 401st Brigade, Colonel Hassan Daksa, fell in combat. During the same incident, a battalion commander was seriously injured and 2 additional officers were lightly injured. The commanders were in the fields in tanks, excited to observe the area and were struck by an explosive while outside the tank.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a stark warning about North Korea's growing involvement in the Russia-Ukraine war. In his nightly address, Zelensky cited satellite and video evidence showing North Korea supplying Russia with military equipment and even preparing soldiers for deployment. The escalation has sparked alarm across the West. Germany, France and other nations voiced concerns after South Korea's spy agency revealed that North Korea has sent 1,500 special forces to Russia's Far East for training, possibly for combat. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin acknowledged the potential threat, while NATO's Mark Rutte noted no evidence of North Korean presence yet. Zelensky stressed that increased North Korean participation could only be harmful to everyone.
I am grateful to those leaders and representatives of states who do not close their eyes and speak frankly about this cooperation for the sake of a larger war. We expect a normal, honest, strong reaction from our partners on this. Unfortunately, instability and threats can significantly increase after North Korea becomes trained for modern warfare. If the world remains silent now, we have to engage soldiers from North Korea on the front line in the same way. We have to defend ourselves from Iranian drones. This will certainly benefit no one in the world and only prolong the war.
Russian President Vladimir Putin on Sunday thanked UAE President for his help in prisoner exchanges with Ukraine. Putin on Sunday welcomed his UAE counterpart Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan for an informal dinner at his residence ahead of the BRICS summit in Kazan. Moscow and Kyiv on Friday announced that they had swapped 95 prisoners each following negotiations led directly by the UAE. The official talks between the two presidents is scheduled for today, where they are expected to discuss several issues including the West Asia crisis. Moldovans headed to the polls on Sunday to vote in the presidential election and a referendum on whether the country should join the European Union. Under the country's constitution, a candidate must win an absolute majority to be elected as the president. Otherwise, the two candidates with the most votes proceed to a runoff. A possible runoff is slated to be held on November 3rd. 11 candidates are competing for the presidency, but two have emerged as frontrunners. Maia Sandu, the current pro-European president, is seeking re-election, promising to bring Moldova closer to the EU. Her main rival is former Prosecutor General Alexander Stoianoglu, who is backed by the Party of Socialists. Besides choosing a president, Moldovans are also casting their votes in a referendum on whether the goal of joining the EU should be enshrined in the country's constitution. Over 230 migrants were rescued from one wooden boat on Sunday in seas off Spain's Canary Islands. 14 women and 3 children were also found in the same boat, which contained a total of 231 people. It is the largest number of people to be rescued from the same boat off the island of Gran Canaria this year, marking a rise of 39.7% from the same period last year. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres addressed world's biggest nature protection conference in Colombia on Sunday. In a video address in the conference, Guterres urged significant investment in a fund created to safeguard Earth's biodiversity. He also added, destroying nature increases conflict, hunger and disease, fuels poverty and slashes GDP. Colombian President Gustavo Petro also attended Sunday's ceremonial event. The meeting, which officially opens on Monday, had a ceremonial kickoff with Cali on high alert after threats from a guerrilla group. The conference was aided by UN and US security personnel. About 12,000 delegates from nearly 200 countries were due to attend the 16th conference of the parties to the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, running until 1st of November. The World Health Organization certifies Egypt as malaria-free, marking this elimination of a disease that had been present in the country since ancient times. Egypt's journey to eradication involved decades of dedicated efforts, including enhanced surveillance, vector control measures, and robust healthcare inventions. The WHO grants certification to countries that have proven beyond reasonable doubt that a chain of indigenous malaria transmission. The status has been granted to a total of 44 countries and 1 territory globally, the WHO said in a statement. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. Hundreds of people took part in a Christmas charity run in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil on Sunday to raise money to fight hunger among poor Brazilian families. In the 2024 edition, 2,000 runners raised funds to help families with food baskets. The race was organized by NGO Citizen Action, which has carried out the event yearly since 1993. Britain's ugliest dog, who starred alongside Hollywood A-listers, has been nominated for Incredible Dogs On-Screen Award. Peggy, the Puggies, a 5-year-old pug and a Chinese crested cross, has been recognized for her film debut as Dog Pool, alongside Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. The awards will take place in London on February 23 next year. Streets of Mexico City, in fact, were overrun with the undead as zombie enthusiasts flooded the streets for the city's annual zombie walk. Dressed in ghoulish costumes and elaborate makeup, the undead horde gathered downtown and creeped out passerbys in the street. Entire families participated in the event annually, with children often dressed up in the costumes. And in Santiago, hundreds of zombies took over the streets to take part in the annual zombie walk on Sunday. Zombie walkers were accompanied by a horror truck, a vehicle playing music along their route. Blood-drenched zombies, Beetlejuice characters, and even a furry dog participated in the parade. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, aiming to bring in significant benefits to the economy, Maldives set to roll out India's UPI soon. We also tell you ahead how Uran scheme revolutionized the aviation sector in the country. Stay with us for a quick glimpse into the preparations to usher in the Festival of Lights in Ayodhya.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Maldives has decided to introduce India's unified payment interface. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu's office said that the move is expected to bring significant benefits to the Maldivian economy, including increased financial inclusion, improved efficiency in financial transactions and enhanced digital infrastructure. Further, the president decided to set up a consortium for the same. He also suggested that banks, telecom companies, state-owned companies and fintech companies operating in the country should be included in the consortium. India's financial interface is operational in several international locations including UAE, Sri Lanka, France, Malaysia, Singapore, Nepal, UK and Mauritius. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Russia to attend the 16th BRICS summit. The summit, themed Strengthening Multilateralism for Just Global Development and Security, will provide an important platform for leaders to discuss key global issues. The summit will offer a valuable opportunity to assess the progress of initiatives launched by BRICS and to identify potential areas for future collaboration. During his visit, the Prime Minister is also expected to hold bilateral meetings with his counterparts from BRICS member countries and invited leaders in Kazan. While Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has cancelled his trip to Russia following medical advice after hurting his head in an accident at home. In a statement, the presidential office said that Lula will now participate in the BRICS meeting via video conference. The diplomatic forum, founded 15 years ago by major emerging markets, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, has since expanded to include South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the UAE. The 2024 BRICS summit is being hosted by Russia in the city of Kazan, where the concept of multipolarity will take center stage in discussions between member nations. Jessica Thaneja of DD India reports from the city's cultural center, which highlights Kazan's unique identity as a symbol of cultural diversity and historical significance.
As Russia's most multicultural city, Kazan is home to over 150 nationalities, symbolizing peaceful coexistence among various cultures, ethnic groups and religions. The diversity reflects the broader values of BRICS, where nations from different parts of the world will come together to address common challenges. The city stands as a powerful symbol of unity amidst diversity, showcasing Russia's affluence and its unique blend of Eastern and Western influences. A notable landmark in Kazan is the Kul Sharif Mosque, which holds deep historical and cultural significance. Originally built during the time of Kazan Khanate, the mosque was destroyed in 1552 but later reconstructed to honor its legacy. Built by Muslim cleric Kul Sharif many centuries ago, this historic and architectural ensemble is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In fact, this is one of the largest mosques in Europe, and it houses some of the most ancient scriptures that we have seen so far. The 1,000-year-old Kazan Kremlin, where the mosque is located, continues to be a major center for Tatar culture and spiritual life within Russia. Its historical importance as the bridge between cultures and its status as a center of multiculturalism enhance its role as the host city for BRICS Summit. Kazan was selected not only because of its multicultural identity, but also due to its symbolic representation of multipolarity and peaceful coexistence. The city's blend of Eastern and Western influences, coupled with history of harmonious inter-ethnic and inter-religious relations, its selection underscores the city's role as a center of dialogue between diverse nations and as a symbol of cooperation and understanding across cultures. Jessica Taneja with video journalist Shailendra Chauhan for DD India.
In Jammu and Kashmir, a joint team neutralized one heavily armed terrorist and recovered arms and ammunition and other warlike stores from the encounter site in Baramulla district. Ahead of this, Indian Army and police launched a joint anti-infiltration operation along the LOC in Uri based on intelligence inputs regarding likely infiltration bid. Alert troops spotted suspicious activity and challenged, which resulted in terrorists opening indiscriminate fire. Vigilant troops responded with effective fire while the operation is still in progress. Meanwhile, at least 6 labourers were killed in a terror attack in Gagangir area of Ganderbal district on Sunday evening. Chief Minister Omar Abdullah condemned the attack, calling it a dastardly and cowardly attack on non-local labourers. India's aviation sector took a significant leap forward with the launch of the Udan scheme in 2016. Aimed at democratizing air travel, Udan focuses on connecting underserved and remote regions, ensuring that affordable flights are within the reach for every Indian, revolutionizing the regional connectivity. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has set an ambitious target to operationalize 100 underserved airports, and open 1,000 new air routes. With various iterations over the years, the Udan scheme has connected even the remotest parts of India, making air travel a reality across the country. Preparations are underway in Uttar Pradesh's Ayodhya for the Deepotsav festival. The authorities plan to light over 2.5 million lamps during Deepavali. A viewing gallery is being constructed at Ram Ki Peri for the attendees, which will be ready before the event. Last year, lamps were lit on 51 ghats, but this year, the plan is to light lamps on 55 ghats. All right, on to sports now. All-rounder Emilia Kerr starred with bat and ball as New Zealand beat South Africa by 32 runs to lift their maiden Women's T20 World Cup on Sunday after runners-up finishes in 2009 and 2010. Now, New Zealand posted an impressive total of 158 runs, which is the second highest in a Women's T20 World Cup final, scoring 73 runs in the last 6 overs. Also, South Africa managed only 126 for 9 in their 20 overs, with captain Laura Walwart top scoring for the Proteas with 33 runs off 27 balls. South Africa won the toss and chose to ball, striking early as Georgia Pilmer was dismissed for 9 in the second over. Hockey India has named a 22-member men's team for the upcoming bilateral series against reigning world champions Germany. The 2-match series will be played in New Delhi on 23rd and 24th of October. The Indian team will be led by Harmanpreet Singh, while Vivek Sagar Prasad will be the vice-captain. Midfielder Hardik Singh has missed out as he continues to recover from an injury sustained during the Paris Olympic Games. Mandeep Singh, who was rested for the Asian Champions Trophy, has returned to the forward line. Recently, India defeated China to clinch the Asian Champions Trophy. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.